pressed against it, listening to the dull sounds outside as she sighed at the distant gunshots. I sat nearby, nursing the growing agony in my shoulder and trying not to whimper. The bleeding had stopped, but the horrid motion of galloping so much on it had generated a burning pain that was affecting my ability to even trot. I don't think I can move quickly. Should we wait until night? No, not enough time. Eventually they'll get word of how many slaves are still out here and start searching every door they can find. You still got that Med-X? Nodding, I dug it out of my saddlebag, only briefly wondering why I was still carrying that book alongside my journal. All that weight in one saddlebag was unbalancing me. Glimmer closed her eyes, concentrated hard, and sparked her horn to lift the syringe from my mouth. She had spent the last half hour nursing her magic back into being. Apparently, she had been lucky. It was just a lack of stamina, not a true burnout, as she'd called them. Those could knock a unicorn out for days, allegedly. Have you used any of these recently? Her voice was stern, serious as she pulled the cap off and tested the plunger lightly. One, I think. Maybe a few days ago? I don't know how long it's been, really. Glimmerlight's face became deadly serious for a minute, as though trying to decide on the risks herself rather than telling me. Eventually, with a light sigh, she motioned me to hold out the hoof with my shoulder on that side. The intent was obvious. We had to take the risk if I was going to go anywhere. Wincing as I felt the needle poke in, the cool rush of liquid entering my bloodstream made me shiver and nipped at the injection point terribly. Sitting back, I let out a raspy breath. The last one had taken a little while to kick in, so we wandered back down the stairs into the safe room for a minute until it... Woo boy! Staggering, my hooves went dead under me, and every line of definition in the room whirled and danced. I keeled to one side and fell face first into the spare rugs piled in one corner. I ended up lying on my chest with my hind legs and rump in the air. Attempting to move only led to me falling to the side, not even feeling my own body drop to the ground. Ooh, these things were comfy when I didn't feel pain. Maybe sleep would be nice right about... Hey! Hey! Murky! My eyes were closed. Smiling, I felt all the pain and weariness flush out of me. The feeling was slow to come back after the initial surge of painless numbing. I just wanted to hug that pile of rugs and snuggle up under it. Murky! Come on! There, stop sleeping. No time to rest! Dully, I felt her hooves lifting me up onto mine. I swayed from side to side and fell back on my rump instead. Looking up, I grinned widely at her. See how happy I am, Glimmerlight? All because of you. She just had a half grin on her face as I flopped around in her hooves. Eventually, remembering to not try shaking my head this time, I looked at her more directly. You all right there? Your eyes are really sparkly. My speech felt slurred around a mouth that was trying to grin wider than my face. Why couldn't I always feel like this? Glimmerlight blinked, rolled her eyes, and chuckled. You're a regular Casanova, Murky. I think the Med-X dosage was a little high for some pony your size and weight. You're only getting half doses in the future, mister. Ah. I giggled and tested my hooves on the ground. Gradually, after at least a few more embarrassing comments, It's a bin and a seat, Glimmer! Look! It began to wind down and settled into a slight dulling of my sense of touch all over. Satisfied I wasn't about to start referring to gunfire as pretty fireworks, we began moving back to the door. Right. Chances are that we'll be spotted at least once. But if we can get to the old bank, I'm fairly sure we stand a good chance if Brimstone carries you the rest of the way. We can make good tracks ahead of pursuers then. You ready for round 2? Would I ever be? All the same, I nodded gently before we both shoved the door at the same time to enter the home stretch. Home. I was going home. To wherever that ended up being. It would be mine.